Is your car's AC barely keeping up in the heat? Not nearly as cold as when you first bought your car? What most drivers don't realize is that it's actually easy to fix without spending a fortune at the mechanic. In fact, it can cost nothing at all. Today, I'm revealing 15 secrets that can make your AC feel twice as cold. These aren't gimmicks, they're real tricks mechanics never share, because if you knew them, they'd lose money. By the end of this video, you'll enjoy ice-cold air on demand, just like a brand new car, and you'll avoid a common mistake that could save you $2,000. Let's get started with secret number 15. 15. Use a sunshade or reflective windshield cover. Think of your windshield as a giant magnifying glass. Without a sunshade, the inside of your car can reach over 140 degrees in minutes. That brutal heat doesn't just make the AC struggle, it actually cooks your dashboard and forces the system to run twice as hard. Skip the sunshade long enough, and you're looking at $400 to $700 in premature AC repairs. Studies show cars using reflective covers cool the cabin by up to 30 degrees faster once the AC kicks in. Thousands of smart drivers in Arizona and Texas swear by this trick. Over 80% report their AC lasting twice as long. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Because what happens when you protect the inside but forget the lifeblood of your AC system? 14. Flush and replace old AC refrigerant oil. Every moving part in your AC system, from the compressor to the valves, depends on refrigerant oil. Over time, that oil breaks down, turns acidic, and starts eating seals from the inside. Ignore it, and you might be facing a $1,200 to $1,800 compressor replacement before you hit 100,000 miles. I once ignored this on a beat-up Civic, and within months, the compressor seized. The car blew nothing but hot air on a 100-degree day. Lesson learned. In surveys, nearly 60% of AC failures are tied to old, contaminated refrigerant oil. Mechanics see it all the time, but most drivers never think about it. But flushing the oil? It costs less than $200 at most shops, and it can literally double the life of your AC. But the next mistake destroyed my neighbor's entire AC system. Cost him $2,400 because he ignored one simple warning sign. Quick poll, how many of you have never checked your AC lines? Be honest in the comments. 13. Check AC compressor health. Your compressor is the heart of the system, pumping refrigerant like blood through veins. If it fails, you lose cooling instantly. Replacing it is one of the most expensive AC jobs, costing $1,500 to $2,500 on many cars. The wild part? Most compressors don't just die, they send metal shavings through the system. That contaminates lines, coils, and the condenser. Some mechanics say one bad compressor can trigger repairs adding up to $4,000 if ignored. Thousands of car forums are filled with horror stories of drivers skipping inspections, only to lose their AC during a heat wave. On the flip side, regular compressor checks catch small noises, oil stains, or weak cooling before disaster hits. Now here's a quick question for you. What's the most expensive repair you've ever had to do on your car? Drop it in the comments. You might help someone avoid the same mistake. And speaking of expensive mistakes, the next tip is one most drivers never even think to check. 12. Insulate or replace damaged AC lines. Your refrigerant lines carry liquid and gas between major parts of the system. When insulation cracks or lines wear out, the AC loses efficiency fast. Even a small leak can bleed refrigerant, forcing your compressor to overwork. And that means wasted fuel and higher repair bills. Ignore cracked insulation or leaks long enough, and you'll end up spending $800 to $1,200 in lost refrigerant, wasted fuel, and premature part wear. Mechanics in hotter climates say they see this constantly in older cars, and it's almost always preventable. I once saw a Corolla where a worn line wasn't caught early. What should have been a $100 fix turned into an $1,100 replacement when the compressor burned out. Here's the part most people don't realize. Better insulated lines not only protect the system, they keep your car blowing colder air on long drives. And that ties perfectly into one of the most overlooked secrets of all. 11. Professional deep clean and system service once a year. Think of this as a yearly detox for your AC. Shops use pressurized machines to flush contaminants, top up refrigerant, and kill mold or bacteria hiding in the system. Skip it, and you're slowly shortening the lifespan of every single component. On average, drivers who never service their AC end up spending $2,000 to $3,000 more over the life of their car. That's not me saying it. A recent consumer auto survey found that drivers who scheduled yearly AC service had 50% fewer major breakdowns. Would you spend $150 once a year to avoid losing $3,000 later? Most smart drivers do, and that's why their cars keep blowing ice-cold air even past 200,000 miles. And now, here's the big twist, because as important as servicing is, there's one extra cooling hack hardly anyone talks about, but it's the kind of thing that makes passengers go, "Wait, how is your car this cold?" By the way, if you've ever had your AC quit on you at the worst possible time, stuck in traffic, in the middle of summer, tell us about it in the comments. I guarantee other drivers will relate. 10. Check and replace your cabin air filter. One of the most overlooked reasons why your AC starts blowing weak, lukewarm air is sitting right behind your glove box, the cabin air filter. Think of it like the lungs of your car's climate control system. Every bit of air you breathe inside the cabin first passes through this filter, and over time it collects dust, pollen, dirt, and even mold spores. When it gets clogged, airflow drops dramatically. The blower motor has to work harder, and the AC system struggles to push cold air through, making it feel like your car's cooling power has been cut in half. Replacing the cabin air filter is surprisingly simple and inexpensive. In most cars, you can access it by dropping the glove box and sliding out the old filter. If it's gray, dusty, or has leaves stuck in it, that's a clear sign it's overdue for replacement. A brand new filter instantly improves airflow, helps your AC system work more efficiently, and gives you fresher, cleaner air to breathe. It's also one of the fastest upgrades you can do. We're talking just 5 to 10 minutes of effort, but replacing the filter is only half the story. If the vents themselves are dirty or blocked, even a brand new filter won't give you maximum cooling. That brings us to the next step, keeping those AC vents clean and clear for unrestricted airflow. You are here and you haven't subscribed? Fix that now. 9. Clean the AC vents for maximum airflow. Even with a new cabin air filter, your AC won't perform at its best if the vents themselves are clogged with dust and debris. Over time, lint, hair, and particles collect on the vent fins, restricting airflow. Not only does this reduce cooling efficiency, but it can also create that stale, musty smell we've all experienced when first turning on the AC. Cleaning your vents is one of the simplest ways to get instant results. Start with a small detailing brush or even a foam paintbrush. Gently work it through each vent fin to loosen dust. Then, follow up with a can of compressed air or your car's vacuum attachment to suck out the debris. For stubborn dirt and bacteria, use a mild disinfectant spray designed for AC systems. Just a light mist inside the vents kills odor-causing germs and helps keep your air fresh. Now that you've maximized airflow inside the cabin, it's time to move outside the car, where one often forgotten component could be making or breaking your AC performance. 8. Inspect and clean the condenser. Your car's AC condenser is like the radiator of your cooling system. It sits right at the front of the engine bay, exposed to every bug, leaf, and bit of road debris you drive through. Its job is crucial. It takes hot refrigerant gas from the compressor, cools it down, down and turns it back into liquid so your AC can blow icy air. But here's the catch. When that condenser gets clogged or dirty, heat can't escape properly. The result? Weak, lukewarm airflow that never seems cold enough, no matter how low you crank the dial. I'll never forget the summer I drove across Texas in an old Honda Civic. The AC just couldn't keep up. It felt like I was in a sauna on wheels. When I finally popped the hood, the condenser looked like a bug graveyard. A quick cleaning with a garden hose and soft brush transformed the airflow almost instantly. Checking your condenser should be part of your monthly routine. Pop the hood and look through the grill. If it's caked with dirt, gently clean it using a low-pressure hose. Avoid high-pressure washers, since they can bend the delicate fins. For stubborn grime, use a condenser cleaner spray or even mild soapy water with a soft brush. Straighten any bent fins with a fin comb to restore airflow. And even with a spotless condenser, your AC won't perform well if the refrigerant levels are low. That's why the next step is making sure your system has the right charge, but it has to be done carefully. Pause the video. What's the oldest part on your car you've never replaced? Let us know in the comments. Before we continue, when's the last time you actually looked at your condenser? Most of you probably can't even find it. 7. Recharge refrigerant safely. If your AC feels weak even after cleaning the filter, vents, and condenser, the culprit may be low refrigerant. This is the lifeblood of your AC system. Without the right amount, it can't produce that crisp, icy air you crave. Over time, small leaks or natural seepage can lower levels, and your AC slowly loses its edge. A few years back, I borrowed a friend's car on a hot day, and the AC barely worked. He shrugged it off as just old age. A quick check revealed the refrigerant was low. After a proper recharge, the car felt like a rolling freezer again. He couldn't believe he'd suffered through weak air for months when the fix was so simple. Recharging refrigerant isn't something you should rush. Many auto stores sell DIY recharge kits, but here's the truth. Overcharging can be just as bad as undercharging. Too much refrigerant creates excessive pressure, which can damage the compressor. That's why the safest approach is to use a pressure gauge and follow the system's recommended specifications, or better yet, have it done by a professional. Now that your system has the proper refrigerant level, there's still one hidden component that can silently rob you of cooling power if neglected. 6. Use recirculation mode the right way. Your car's recirculation button isn't just a random feature. It's one of the most powerful tools for making your AC blow colder, faster. When you press it, your system stops pulling in hot, humid outside air and instead reuses the already cooled air inside the cabin. Think of it like putting your AC on easy mode. Instead of constantly fighting 100-degree air from outside, it keeps recycling the cold air, making the temperature drop dramatically in just a few minutes. Here's where most drivers mess up. They leave recirculation off on scorching days, forcing their AC to run harder and longer. The result? Slower cooling, more fuel burned, and extra strain on the compressor. But with recirculation on, your car cools down twice as fast, stays colder, and the compressor gets a much-needed break. I learned this lesson the hard way years ago, driving through Nevada in July. I thought my AC was weak, only to realize I'd been running it without recirculation. The difference was like night and day. Within minutes of pressing the button, the air went from lukewarm to ice cold. But while recirculation boosts efficiency, it won't save you if your refrigerant is leaking out of the system. And leaks don't just kill cooling, they can drain thousands from your bank account if ignored. 5. Check for refrigerant leaks before they get worse. Here's the brutal truth. Ignoring a refrigerant leak is like ignoring a money leak. Small leaks in your AC lines, compressor seals, or condenser can seem harmless at first, but they get worse over time. While the immediate effect is weak, warm air, the long-term damage can destroy your entire system. And the cost? A simple leak repair might might be $100 to $200. But let that leak run wild, and you could be staring at a full AC system replacement that easily runs $1,200 to $2,500, sometimes even more. That's like throwing a vacation, a brand new laptop, or a month's rent right out the window just because you ignored a little hiss or a small drop in cooling. I once helped a neighbor who complained his AC just needed a recharge every summer. Turns out he had a slow leak he never bothered to fix. After 3 years of constant recharging, the compressor finally seized. He shelled out over $1,800 for repairs, when a simple $150 leak fix could have prevented the disaster. Here's how you can stay ahead. Watch for oily residue around fittings or hoses, listen for hissing sounds, and use a simple UV dye kit from the auto store if you suspect a leak. Catch it early, and you'll spend pocket change instead of maxing out your credit card. And remember, every dollar you waste on refrigerant top-offs could have gone toward preventing the bigger problem. Stop the leaks now, save thousands later. 4. Inspect drive belts and pulleys. Your car's drive belts and pulleys might not seem directly connected to the AC, but trust me, they're the unsung heroes behind that icy blast you love on a hot day. The AC compressor doesn't magically spin on its own. It's driven by a belt, usually the serpentine belt, which also powers your alternator, power steering, and water pump. If that belt is cracked, loose, or slipping on the pulleys, your AC loses efficiency and your entire engine system is at risk. Here's the scary part. Belts rarely give a polite warning before failing. One day they squeak, the next they snap. And when that happens, not only does your AC stop blowing cold, but your engine can overheat within minutes. Imagine a $20 belt turning into a $2,000 head gasket repair. That's not an exaggeration. I've seen it happen. Inspect your belt monthly. Look for cracks, fraying edges, or shiny glazed spots that mean it's slipping. Check pulleys for wobble or misalignment. If you hear squeaking or chirping when the AC is running, don't just turn up the radio. That's your car begging for attention. But even if your belts are healthy, there's still a hidden component that silently strangles AC performance if neglected: the evaporator coil, and most drivers don't even realize it needs cleaning. 3. Clean the evaporator coil. Often forgotten, the evaporator coil is the heart of your AC's cold air magic. Tucked deep inside your dashboard, this coil absorbs heat from the cabin air and chills it before sending it through your vents. But here's the problem. Over time, moisture, dust, and even mold build up on the coil. When that happens, airflow drops, cooling weakens, and your car develops that dreaded musty AC smell. Most people never think about the evaporator because it's hidden, out of sight, out of mind. But ignoring it can cost you big. A dirty coil forces your compressor to run longer and harder, which jacks up fuel consumption and accelerates wear. Left unchecked, you could be looking at $800 to $1,500 in repairs, all because of something that could have been solved with a $15 cleaner. Cleaning the evaporator coil is easier than most people think. Pick up an AC evaporator cleaning foam from an auto store. Locate the access port, usually through the cabin filter housing, spray the foam, and let it expand across the coil. It dissolves dirt, mold, and gunk, then drains out through the condensation line. The result? Colder air, fresher smell, and a longer-lasting AC system. It's a job most drivers never do, which makes it one of the smartest secret weapon tips you can use. So here's the bottom line. If you want your AC to blow twice as cold and smell twice as fresh, don't just stop at the surface. Clean deep where it matters, in the evaporator coil itself. 2. Shade and vent strategy. Here's a truth few people realize. Your AC doesn't have to do all the work. If you play it smart with shade and ventilation, you can slash the load on your system and make it blow colder, faster. Think of it like teamwork. You set the stage, and your AC delivers the knockout punch. Start with the obvious. Whenever possible, park in the shade. A car left baking in direct sunlight can hit 140 degrees inside. That's hotter than a sauna. Your AC then has to work overtime just to bring the temperature down to livable levels. But park under a tree, in a garage, or even use a reflective windshield shade, and you instantly reduce cabin temps by 20 to 30 degrees. That means less strain on the compressor and faster cooling for you. Before blasting the AC, roll down all the windows for a minute to flush out the trapped hot air. I once timed this experiment in my own car. With windows closed, it took nearly 10 minutes to feel comfortable. With a 1-minute venting routine, it dropped to 3 minutes flat. That's a massive difference, especially on scorching summer days. Sunshades, tinted windows, and cracked vents also help keep things cooler while you're parked. Small changes add up to a big payoff. Remember, every degree you prevent your car from heating up is one less degree your AC has to fight against. Ignore this tip, and you're basically burning money. Over the years, you could easily waste up to $3,000 in extra fuel and strain, not to mention sweating through shirts before your AC catches up. But if you really want to supercharge your cooling, there's one bonus trick that feels like a life hack straight out of summer survival school, and it uses nothing more than a little ice. The ice down trick that saves your AC. This one's for the drivers who want their car to feel like a rolling freezer in record time. It's a simple hack, but it works wonders when the summer heat feels unbearable. All you need is a basic bag of ice or a couple of frozen water bottles. Here's how it works. Before turning on your AC, place the ice directly in front of a vent. A shallow tray, small cooler, or even a plastic container works. As the fan blows across the ice, it super chills the air before it circulates through the cabin. The effect is immediate. Instead of waiting minutes for the evaporator to cool down, you get a blast of icy air almost instantly. I tried this during a 4th of July road trip when my AC was struggling, and it was a game changer. Within 2 minutes, the cabin felt noticeably cooler, and my AC didn't have to strain nearly as hard to catch up. My passengers thought I discovered some secret driver-only feature. Now here's why this hack matters. The less your compressor has to fight extreme cabin heat, the longer it lasts. Think of this ice trick as giving your AC a head start in a marathon. Even if it shaves off 5 minutes of heavy strain each drive, over the years that adds up to hundreds of hours of extra compressor life and potentially saves you $1,500 or more in repairs. Of course, it's not a replacement for proper maintenance, but it's a clever, low-cost way to make your car more comfortable fast. Plus, on long drives, those frozen bottles double as drinking water once they melt. Talk about efficiency. So next time you face triple-digit heat, remember, your AC doesn't have to do it alone. A little ice, a little planning, and you'll feel like you're cruising with Arctic wind at your back. That's it for today's list. You've now got some simple car hacks that can actually save you time, money, and stress on the road. Tried any of these AC tricks? Instant cooling or total bust? Drop your story below. Thanks for watching. For more car tips, hit subscribe and check out the next video on your left.